Hello techies, welcome to Microsoft Power Automate tutorials. This is module 5, build a flow to connect Microsoft SQL Server. In this module, we will learn how to create a flow to connect Microsoft SQL Server, and we will see the triggers and actions related to the Microsoft SQL Server. Microsoft SQL Server is a relational database management system developed by Microsoft. We will connect to SQL Server to manage the data, and also you can perform various actions such as create, update, get, and details on rows in a table. Simply, it's a CRUD operation, CRUD operations. Now, we will see what are the SQL triggers available over here in the Power Automate. Trigger is nothing but a starting action for a flow. The trigger can be something like, a new email arriving in your mailbox or new item being added to the SharePoint list. Here, we can see two triggers for the SQL Server. One is when an item is created. Another one is that when an item is modified. It is nothing but whenever if you are having a table, if the new item is going to be created for the table, then this trigger will be called. And also whenever there is an existing item or existing row is modifying, SQL trigger will be called. Okay. And now we'll see what are the SQL actions are available in Power Automate. You can see on my screen there are a lot of actions that are providing by the SQL or nothing but Power Automate. One is delete row, execute a SQL query, execute stored proc, get row, get rows, insert row, transform data using Power Query, update row, and get tables. Now we'll see all these things, in our session as part of our session. Okay, first of all, I will give you a live scenario how we are going to be working with. If you see on my screen, there's a live scenario for the triggers. The first one is that ServiceNow. So ServiceNow is a tool for the to raise the tickets. Correct. Whenever there's a ticket has been raised from the ServiceNow, the new row has been created in the SQL Server. Okay, along with that, whenever there's a new row has been created or new item has been created at the SQL Server, we need to send a mail. This is our live scenario, but I can't show you how to, how to create a ticket by using ServiceNow, but I will directly go to the SQL Server and I will show you how to, insert a record directly by using portal.azure.com. And then from there onwards, we're creating a flow and then we will send a mails directly to that one. Okay, this is the live scenario what we are going to do. So in this one, that how we are going to do, we are using the triggers which I have shown you. One is when a new item has been created and also when a new item is modified. First of all, let me switch to portal.azure.com. Over here, I am already having SQL databases. Can you see over here? I have created practice 2020 is my SQL server. Okay, and also there's a database, SQL database that I'm having a test. Let me click on that. And you can see over here the configuration and all these things that I'm already having these things. Server name, practice 2020.database.windows.net. And also let me go ahead, let me click on query editor. That is a preview. And you can see over here the SQL Server authentication I have given login as test and the password I'm providing over here. And then click on OK. Once you log into that, you can see the tables over here. When I expand that, there are multiple tables. One is email data, persons, and the ticket resolution. So now we are going to work it on the email data as well as the ticket resolution. Okay, let me show you that what are the things are there. If you see the ticket resolution, this is the first thing that we are going to use it for the for the SQL triggers. You can see in that table we are having ticket number, ticket description, assigned to, created date, modified date, and the status. So I have already created the table. Okay, now what I will do, let me go for the select query. Select star from DBO dot ticket resolution. Let me execute this query. Let me go ahead, let me run it. You can see there's already data I have already inserted that. Don't worry about that. So let me delete this data. All the rows has been deleted successfully. Now you can see there are no data over here. Okay, there are affected rows is 0. So I'm going to use the same table over here to for the ticket resolution. Okay, now let me switch to flows.microsoft.com. Over here, when you click on the create, what I'm going to do from, I can't insert the data from the service now directly, right? So what I'm going to do at the backend side, I'm going to insert the data and then my flows will pick it up. Okay, this is what exactly I'm going to do. I'm going to skip out this one as service now from service now, and I'm directly inserting the data into the SQL server, which I have shown to you. And then my flows will work it out, and then the mails has been sending to the particular email ID. That is what exactly the scenario is. But in live scenario, what you will do from service now to the database, from database to the mail, it will be automatically getting on. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on automated flow. Okay. Let me click on that. I'm just giving the flow name as service now. Service now to SQL to, I'm just saying Outlook. This is the flow. Okay, service now to SQL, SQL to Outlook. But I'm not going to be using the service now because of I don't have anything to create from the service now. But I'm just showing you an example over here. Okay, please don't mind for that. And then I'm selecting choose your flows trigger. So I'm selecting SQL over here. When you select choose your flows trigger, there are two things. One is when an item is modified, when an item has been created. You can see over here, whenever a new item is created. Okay, first of all, I'm taking that one and I'm going to create a new flow. Okay, let me go ahead, let me create that. And you can see the authentication type. I'm using SQL Server authentication, and the server name, I have shown you already the server names, right? Let me open that. I'm already having on my desktop. Let me copy that. I'm just giving server name, SQL server name, and I'm giving SQL database test, and I'm using username as test. Both the things I have given, and I'm providing the password, and then I'm not giving any gateway. Let me click on create. You can see this one has been connected to the item. Now, when a new item has been created, so first of all, we have to choose what is the SQL server name. This is a server SQL connection, and the database, which database I'm going to use it. I'm using test, and the table name, there you can see all the things. There's the ticket resolution. Let me click on that. Now what I have to do, whenever a new item has been created, I have to send a mail to the particular person to whom it has been assigned. Okay, he has to get a notification, right? Now what I'm going to do, I'm using Gmail as an action. Okay, so the first one is the trigger and the following are the actions. See over here, choose an action. Let me select Gmail, and you can see there are different actions which are provided by the Gmail. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just using send email, and you can see two lists. Okay, and after that subject and the body. To whom I have to send it? Okay, let me expand that. To whom I have to send? The assigned to I have to send as a to. Okay, and the subject is I will provide as a description, and also body, the entire description along with the, okay, the subject I will give it as a ticket number, and the body description I will give it as a description. Okay, and the status I will send it as a status over here. Okay, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to send a mail to the particular person. Okay, now let me go ahead, let me save it. Let me go ahead, let me check the flow checker. Is there any errors or warnings? I don't find any errors, any warnings, because it's a simple one. Don't get too much confused about that. So now what I'm going to do, I have to test the, based on the test flow. I have to test it. How can I test it? I will perform the trigger action using the data from the previous run. So, but there's no runs over here. But if you see, what I will do based on the data which I want to, correct? Now what I'm going to do, I'm already having a queries over here. Let me go ahead to the portal.azure. I'm going to execute this query over here. What I'm giving the ticket number, description, and to whom it has been assigned. And this is the email ID which I have given, indiancareers2008@gmail.com. And you can see the status over here. Let me go ahead, let me run it. Now you can see it has been successfully run. Query succeeded, affected rows 1. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going over here. I will perform the trigger actions, save and run test. Now you can see to see it work it now, please perform some of the actions. Okay. You can see the data over here, right? So the first time I have cancelled it, but you can see use the data from the SQL. Please select this so that it will be very useful, to test the data. Let me click on that test. So the flow has been ran successfully. Now we want to go ahead and we have to check it out in the email, right? Now let me see where it has been. Now you can see over here that 2 times I have performed the same action. Now you can see the ticket over here. What is the ticket? Ticket 002 I have inserted, and then error description, error page in ABC, and the status is active. This is for the while you have inserted the data. It is whenever the trigger has been performed and while creation a new item, correct? Now this has been successfully ran successfully. Now what I'm going to do, I'm creating one more thing, the same way the action when a new item has been modified. Let me go ahead, let me create one more flow. It's the same way automated flow. I'm saying modified. I'm just giving service now hyphen modified SQL to Outlook. Now let me go ahead, let me go for select the triggers. When I'm see previously we have selected when an item has been created. Now I'm selecting when an item is modified. Okay, this is the trigger which we are selecting it. Now let me go ahead, let me create it. You can see already the connectivity is there. So I'm using the same server name and the database name is a test and table. We're already having ticket resolution. Whenever there is a modification happen in the particular table, then we're going to be sending an email. So this is the trigger purpose that I'm showing it. Okay, let me go ahead. So whenever there is an item has been modified in the SQL server in the particular table, I have to send a mail. Simply, I'm just going to use the same action which I'm having. I'm going to send a mail. I'm having Gmail and the action send an email. I'm using the same connectivity, same to, assign to, and the subject, I'm just saying ticket number, body, I'm just giving the description as well as the status. Okay, I'm just writing to additionally status over here. Okay, and then I'm going to saving it. Let me go ahead, let me check the flow checker. I have 0 warnings, 0 errors. So before going to be testing it, let me modify the data. So I'm already having a modification over here. I'm just changing the ticket number. I'm just making the status as resolved. Let me go ahead, let me update it. Let me go back to my test practice. and I'm going to run this. Okay, affected rows 1. Now let me go ahead to my flow. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to test it. I will perform the action on the trigger. So I will perform the trigger action. Let me go ahead, let me test it. Save and test, I'm doing it at the same time. So to see it work now or not, performing the starting action, this may take a few minutes. Please bear for a few minutes. Whenever the action performed successfully, that you will receive a mail immediately. Okay, this is all about the, while these are the triggers related to the SQL triggers. Now I will show you one of the action that is insert a record into the SQL. Okay, now this is related to the actions that we are going to do. Before that, I will show you the connections where it has been performed. You can see data, later expand the data, and the connection you can see. Click on the connections. Now you can see over here the connections over here. These are all the connections which I have given for the SQL Server. Every time you don't want to give the connection, automatically this connection for the SQL Server will be taking automatically. Okay. Now what we are going to do, whenever I know I'm just showing you an actions, SQL actions over here to insert the data into the SQL Server. Okay. Now let me go back to the uh, test database, and you can see there is the email data table we are having. Let me go for that and let me execute select query. Select star from email data, and you can see there's a lot of data which are available in the in the email data. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to delete all the data from the email data. Delete from. So let me go ahead, let me select query. Let me see how many records are there. There are 0 records. So whenever there is a mail, came to the particular email ID, okay, the data has to insert into the this table, that is email data table. And you can see there's a lot. What are the things? From, to, BCC, CC, subject, body. These are all the things which are which are inserting into the email data. This is nothing but insert a record. Okay. Now let me go ahead. Let me do that. I'm going to create a new automated flow. What I'm going to do, I'm just giving Gmail to SQL. So on the trigger is first is whenever a mail receives, right? Gmail is the trigger point. When a new mail arrives, I'm selecting that one. What I'm going to do, I'm going to create it. When a new mail arrives, I'm going to insert the data into the SQL Server. Let me expand the show options. So I'm not giving any to. All these things I'm keeping as it is. Whenever a new mail arrives into the inbox, I'm going to insert the data into the SQL Server. So what are the actions that we are having for the SQL? Let me select choose an action and I'm giving SQL. You can see over here SQL. I'm selecting SQL Server and you can see there are a lot of actions. One is deleted row, execute SQL query, execute store proc, get rows. These are all the premiums. Okay, premium related. Okay. Now, what is our action? Insert a new row into the SQL Server table. Let me select that. And what is the server name? Every time you have to give the server name. So I'm having practice 2020. And the database, I'm already having test. And the new name of the table, I'm giving email data. Okay. And I'm going to say, email data. All these things from, we have to provide these details from any content, right? So from anyone, if I'm getting it, no problem. I have to two details which I am giving. I have to insert the data into the two, correct? Which one I have to use? If it is a from detail, I have to provide. Okay. Two, There is a two column also. You can see this is the dynamic content is very, very important. It's an auto generated one. Don't worry about that, which you have to give and what kind of data, what kind of coding I have to write it out. You don't want to worry about all these things. It will be dynamic content. You can get all these things over here. You can see two, I'm giving two, and the BCC, I'm just giving BCC, and CC, I'm giving CC. And the subject, there you have the subject over here in the email. Okay, and the body, you can give the body. You can see over here body. These are all the things in the particular, you can find all the columns over here which I have given the table name over here, right? You can see over here once again, you can see from to BCC, CC, subject, body. These are all the columns which have been mentioned over here also. Okay, let me go ahead, let me save that. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to send a mail from my Gmail ID from my mobile. Okay, I'm just sending before starting it. Let me go ahead, let me check the flow checker. There are errors 0 and warning 0. Let me go ahead, let me test it. So I will perform the trigger action, save and test. What I'm going to do, I'm going to send a mail from my mobile. Okay, and I'm giving subject as test and the compose email also as test. Okay, let me go ahead, let me send it. I have already sent the data, sent an email to this. Let me go ahead to my Gmail and let me refresh it. Now you can see I have sent a mail from test as I said, and you can see the body subject as test and the body also is text. Let me go ahead, let me check it out. You can see your flow has been run successfully. Okay, now let me go back to my database and let me run it. And you can see from to BCC, they have nothing I have provided. And the subject, you can see test, and the body is so and so thing. Okay, there are a lot of SQL actions are available. I have shown you only insert row. There the remaining things: delete row, execute SQL query, execute store prog, get row, get rows, transform a data using Power Query, update row, get tables. These are all the actions that you can perform based on the SQL actions. I hope you understand about the how to build a flow by using Microsoft SQL Server. If you have any queries related to this concept, please post them in the comment section. Your feedback and appreciations are very valuable to us. Thank you for watching Microsoft Power Automate tutorials. We will see you in the next session. Till then, bye-bye. Have a nice day.